Hi YouTube. So today I'm going to do a brow tutorial. I get a lot of comments on my eyebrows and people have requested that I do this. So it's really easy. All we're going to work with is some sort of a brow pencil that matches your natural hair color. This here is Annabelle Eyebrow Pencil and the color is 04 medium brown. If you're normally a dark haired gal but you've dyed your hair light, you may want to consider bleaching your brows for a few minutes just to get the color right, and then try and get as close as possible to the color you've dyed your hair. We're also going to be using Speed Brow from Benefit. I love Benefit, especially for brows. They make some really nice products. This is basically a brow setting gel, so it's going to help us keep the shape that we set. We'll be using 2 sets of tweezers. I have like a precision tip tweezer here. This is from Sally Hanson. It's called Stray Hair Beware, and it's just basically really pointy tipped tweezer. And then we'll also be using a slanted tweezer. This is also from Sally Hanson. It's called Bushy Brows Be Gone. So the first step is to take your brow pencil. You can use anything you want really for this portion, because all we're going to do is just mark what shape our brows should naturally be. So we're going to take our brow pencil and we're going to line it up with our nose. And you want to line it up with the end of your nostril and just sort of point your pencil upward. That is going to give you the spot where your brows should start. So mark that either with a little line or something just so you remember where to go. The next part we're going to do is take the pencil, but this time we're going to angle it. And we're going to angle it so that it reaches the middle of our pupil, which is the black circle. And we're going to mark that. That should be the highest point of your brow, so where your arch is, and you're going to want to mark that. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to, again, extend our pencil just to where the eyeball ends, and we're going to mark that, and that is going to be where the brow ends. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil, I'm going to try and get in here nice and close for you to see, and you're basically just going to draw in little hairs to create the shape that you've just measured. Now, if any of your hairs fall outside of that natural space, what you'll want to do is take your tweezers and just sort of go in and pluck any of those little hairs that don't belong in that space. There are 2 different tweezers for different types of hair. If you've got a lot of hair that doesn't belong in that shape, then the pointy nose tweezers are going to be the best to use because they'll pick up a bunch of hair at once. And then for those tiny little hard to get ones around the sides and whatnot, that's really where you're going to use the pointy tip one. So you just want to go in and get rid of all of those. And then obviously if you've made a really big mark when you created your shape, just sort of blend that through. So do you see the difference? I do. Alright, and we're just going to do the other side. So again, mark it. I've done this a few times, so the natural shape is already there. And again, we just fill it in. Now for this part, I find it's really important that you actually don't do like one solid line like that. Instead, as you'll see, the way I work my pencil is I sort of draw little hairs on, and I find that that looks more natural. And you want to get them obviously as close to one another as possible. I have a little bald spot in here from a place where my hair just doesn't really grow. So I have to fill that in, just like so. Perfect. Now we're going to take our brow groomer. I have one here from Lancome, but you can use really whatever you want. We're going to be using this end really, and all we're going to do is just brush through. Just to get the shape right. And then all we're going to do is set it with our Instant Brow Gel from Benefit. So this comes only in one color. It's good for everyone because it doesn't really have a lot of color to it. And all this is going to do is just sort of help us to shape the brow. And there you go. Brows in 5 minutes.